Hello everyone and welcome back to the Fremont Reformation. Today we've got a brand new event starting up. This one is called DREADNOUGHT. In it we invited our players to build a slightly bigger points ship than you normally would. We're using the flagship resource, which allows you to add a few extra stats onto your ship and build somewhat of a super ship. After that we will be pairing each person up, and each person will get a 30 SP and 35 SP booster ship each, and that will be their fleet. So today I'm joined by Haz and Jeff, and we're going to go through the pairings, discuss everyone's submissions and a few boosters, and just basically how to run the tournament. So let's move over into the pairings board. Here we go. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Jeff, before we move into the pairings?
Maybe just one quick thing is the way that we do our tournaments typically here is pretty different from what you would get in, say, a game store, or if you go to a competition like the upcoming UK Nationals. Because in our tournaments, you know your matchup completely days in advance sometimes, so you can kind of plan your tactics. But if you go into a game store, you don't know who you're going to play, and you don't know what's in their fleet until literally a couple minutes before you start playing. So this was an attempt to try and recapture sort of some of those features where you're going to be rolling boosters right at the time you play, and you'll have to kind of plan on your feet. So there's some of those skills that maybe have sort of atrophied for some of us. We'll have to come back now.
Absolutely.
That's the hope, at least.
And if we can get a few round one games in before the Unnationals, that might dust off the cobwebs for a few people as well.
Right, exactly.
So Haz is also here. Say hello, Haz.
Hello, Haz.
There he is. We don't usually get Haz because he's usually too busy doing other things, more important things.
Yes, I've had my roller derby season, which has been very intense. My team's topped the group, and we got playoffs in September.
All right. Yeah, well, all right.
I know you open the door, and I'm going to close it. You open the door, and then the team that I coach, the ladies' team Stoke, they've got a game this coming weekend, and they've got another game at the end, so we might be able to finish second. But it has been all-consuming. But now we're at the arse end of it, I can start getting back into Fremont activities.
Yep.
Sounds like you might be a candidate for Coach of the Year.
It does sound like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, someone will have the misfortune of coming up against Haz at some point. Probably me, usually me. But anyway, right. So off to the side here, as usual, we've got our lovely submission cards, and what I'll do is I'll just draw two at a time, and we can each talk about the different. Well, normally it would be an entire list, but in this case it's going to be just a flagship. So, without further ado, let's see who we've got first. So, we will have Derek. Derek running Twilight's Wrath against Dre running a Scimitar, the new Scimitar.
It's an internal Romulan conflict.
So let me switch over to the fleet breakdown and bring up Derek's list. Okay. Why don't you start us off, Haz?
Derek, I need a link to Derek actually. I haven't
I'll message the fleets to you.
Cheers. Yeah, where I've been out of the scene for quite a while, I've lost touch on some of the finesse of finding stuff. Here you go.
Okay. I just sent you the list of 12.
Lovely. So, right then. So Derek, rocking up with Twilight's Wrath. Bit of Daradex. Somewhat misrepresented, but that's my lamentations for another time. So, relies on other people doing stuff at range 1 to 3 when performing an action. And if he's cloaked, perform an additional barrel roll action. So there's a lot of actions floating around. The flagship is unusually the the battle station's flagship. Independent Romulan flagship when defending all other friendly ships within range 1 of your flagship, gain +1 defense. Not huge, but the really important key bit here is that the battle station's action that it gives the ship is also shared by Shinzon, who's the admiral. So I believe he'd be entitled to a free battle station's action. Is that right?
I would
that's
say,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's just from those 3 cards alone, you've got sheer action economy. Additional weapons array, so he's +1 attack dice, so he's chucking out 6 dice right from the get-go. And that's just bolsters up any kind of attack value secondary weapon card. Wreckar, when attacking with a weapon upgrade, you may reroll up to 2 blanks. If the upgrade is a non-Romulan weapon, roll +1 attack dice. So he's got 3 additional dice on top of his basic 4 from the get-go. So it's a really tough primary weapon. After disruptor emitters, he's got a 360 shot with that bad boy, essentially. So that's tasty. And it's time tokens, which is also brilliant. Advanced cloaking. There's all sorts going on. This thing's going to be shifting everywhere. There's Romulan cloaking device. It's going to be shifting everywhere. It's going to have a really high captain skill. I think it's going to be clocking in at 11. It's got Romulan helmsman to kind of catch you out. Am I going to be going forwards? Am I going to be backwards? You're not going to be able to track this ship. And then it can expose your blind spots with its 360 shot. And being a Dodera deck, it's pretty tough as it is anyway. So, and Nick's played a few of these the other day against me. It's kind of similar builds. The action economy the Romulans have got since the Tal Shiar pack is mind-blowing, especially when you've got Romulan cloaking device where you can use the bank maneuvers. So this is going to be all over the shop. There's no way you can track this ship. It's going to hit you hard. It's going to be quite tough. It hasn't got any rerolls from what I can see on the defense. That is one of its inherent weaknesses, but it's just going to be chucking attack dice straight out at you. So yeah, nice build.
For clarification, I believe he's going to be Captain Skill 9. I think
it's Wreckar.
Wreckar's naturally a 7. Shinzon boosted
Okay.
to 2. So yeah, but it's still 9's not too bad.
Not too bad. No.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And moving over to Dre. Jeff, did you want to take this one?
Sure, I'd love to. So Dre went big Romulan here, Scimitar. Scimitar with a flagship that does not turn it from a 6 to a 7, but it gives you all the other stats. And because it gives you a target lock, that's going to be a free target lock every round for whatever target the Scimitar aims at. So Dre, there's kind of an important choice on all these flagships. Are you going with a big, strong, powerful captain, or are you going with Cal Hudson? I guess is the other option.
Yeah. Or maybe Diet Picard.
Yeah, that's right. There's other options for cramming even more into that 60-point ship, but because independent flagship is an option, that makes Cal Hudson even more appealing than usual because you don't get the usual downsides of captured. So he went with Cal Hudson, fitting lots and lots of stuff on here. That flagship, it looks like it was chosen to get an extra elite. So he's got a couple attack cancels on this ship. He's got Ibix Dynasty and Conditional Surrender. So not only is it the Scimitar with its usual durability, including the plus from flagship to its hull and its shields, but he's also got the ability to cancel your attacks. He's got a couple forward disruptor banks, which I've never seen anyone use this card, and I'm not quite sure why, because it looks pretty nice. If you do a 2-bank or a 3-bank, then you get to roll an extra attack die this game round. So he's got a couple, which is really going to pump up that Scimitar attack really high. What else do we have on here? Ferengi torpedoes, which is always annoying because the Scimitar does have a rear arc. So not only can it attack you on its way towards you, if it chooses, it could just keep going right on by and keep pumping those Ferengi torpedoes into you out of its backside. He's got the weird improved cloaking, which in it only works on a Riemann Warbird. It's a new card, and instead of having to disable all your shields, you only have to disable one of your shields. So we get some weird effects there. But basically, what it does is it makes the scimitar even more durable. So this thing is going to be really hard to take down. It's got triphasics, something hidden there, quark, something hidden there. So definitely some surprises Dre has for us here. And this is probably not a flagship a lot of people are going to want to try taking on, but I'm afraid you have to.
That improved cloaking is an absolutely amazing card. I've used it a couple of times and so good. Because and especially as well since he's got an extra shield because of his flagship.
Yeah, with the flagship.
So
sure.
he's gonna be cloaked with 4 shields, and he's got 3 standard evade dice, plus the cloak as well. So yeah, this thing is not only is it going to be hard to kill, but if he's doing those forward disruptor banks maneuvers, I mean he's chucking out a minimum of 8 dice. So yeah, it's horrific. Right, so there is our round 1. So Derek versus Dre. That one's going to be a tough one. We got 2 Romulans. Derek obviously will have the captain skill advantage, and that could be crucial with those with that Romulan cloaking device. But they're going to be
I don't know.
They're going to be jostling for proper positioning there, I think.
I got to get to the side.
Conditional surrender. You got quark there. I've not seen the list, but I can only guess what's under there. That scimitar is going to be. It's going to be a battle of attrition, and I reckon scimitar's in a good place with that. But that'd be interesting. That.
Okay. So let's take a look at our next matchup. So shuffling, and we will have Jeff against TJ. So let's I'll have a quick go at Jeff's then.
Okay. I heard about this.
Are you laughing at my ship?
No, honestly, has heard about it because yes, once I spotted this, I was very full of praise, as Has can attest to. I absolutely love that you went for a science vessel for starters, and you just went, do you know what? I can make this. I can make this science vessel. It's only 10 points, which gives me, and with Cal Hudson, it means I can absolutely load it up with all sorts of fun and games. And as much as what you've done here, I mean, you've made it. You've made it combat effective because you've got your forward disruptor banks there. You've got your tactical station if you need it. Not to mention, I think you got your disruptor beams down there. So am I right in thinking that the forward disruptor banks will stack on top of the disruptor beams? Is that right?
Yeah, because those are just when attacking.
Absolutely. So there you go. So you can beef up that disruptor beam attack. So you're looking at a Romulan science vessel that's doing a minimum of 7, possibly 8 dice attack, which it's just crazy. But again, we've got some things that are cancelling attacks. The Ibex Dynasty. Not to mention there's some the new Romulan cloaking device, conditional surrender, an interface generator. So that's 3 cancel attacks. We've got something hidden under 2 things hidden under cryogenic stasis. God knows what they could be, but it's terrifying. Same with quark. I did spot. Where did I spot it? No, I can't spot it. But I did spot something else. Oh yeah, so we got the Romulan ale as well, which is just. Honestly, I love everything about this. The aft disruptor emitters as well. You can beef up that attack. Not quite the same as the disruptor banks, but still, being able to shoot in any direction with this thing just gives you so much more flexibility. And of course, you've got the Next is I'm going to assume that the ability is not a condition of this ship. It was probably more of the slots.
Yeah, that's right.
That would be my guess. But you've given yourself the ability to do a target lock action as well with that flagship, which I suspect was probably part of the reason for choosing that, as well as the extra slots that it gave you. And yeah, it's just, when we look back at, for example, the scimitar that we just broke down, this is doing almost the same stuff as the scimitar, only it's a science vessel, and I absolutely love it. And I suppose it's shooting in all directions as well, which the scimitar is not doing. So it's, without breaking it down much more than that, I'm sure Esri Dax is there for a very good reason. I'm sure one of those hidden cards is going to benefit greatly from Esri Dax. But yes, absolutely fantastic. Love it. Romulan Science Vessel. Well done. Right then. So, Haz, do you want to go through TJ's?
Go for it. Right, let's have a look. Let's pull TJ's up. There he is. So, our first Klingon ship, which is good to see, especially with the release of Alliance 2 over in the States. Romulans seem to be the flavour of the last couple of months, from what I've seen. So, it's good to see TJ. Kablam! So, Vulture class, always a strong platform to build on. He's got himself the evade action for free. Will really help. You've got one of our favourite cores, the one that gives you extra attack dice. And if he's a captain, it's assigned to a Klingon ship. It's also one additional hit. And he doesn't flip his cloak token, so he's going to stay cloaked all the time. Esri Dax in there to keep that going all the time. Gowron, battle stations. So you've got the battle stations actions chucked in there as well, which helps. Cord. That's this first bit of I'm going to mess with your maneuvering. So a good way to put someone out of position, to put some pressure on them. Klingon cloaking device, underrated card, is it not, Nick?
I love it. Yeah.
So convert one blank to an evade, and you won't need the end phase element of it, which is place 3 time tokens on the card, because he's got Captain Core doing that for him.
It's almost a guaranteed evade. Really.
Yeah, it's you can't argue with that. It's underrated. It's very good. That's when you cloak, mind you. Klingon Helmsman, 2 time tokens, perform scans of free action. That'd be decent against those of any agility dice. Reinforced hull.
Esri Dax can affect that as well, can't it?
Yeah, so you've got free scan action, you've got free evade action. No Daha Masters, though, surprisingly. It would have been good to have a free target lock action in there, I imagine. But it is what it is. Reinforced hull, so he's got 8 hull in the ship thanks to the flagship upgrade. Repurposed cargo hold. Genesis effect with someone hidden. Cork with something hidden. And yeah, it's Dax. So it's pretty tough. It's dishing out 6 dice. It's running off primary weapons. So maybe Quark's got something in the mix there. Yeah. I mean, what's the flagship ability? After your flagship moves, you may target one of a friendly ship within range one of your flagship. Second action or its action bar. So a nice little support role. See, that's a decent ability, that. That's also a generic Vulture. But being able to give someone a free action to support your main ship is useful. I think Cord's quite the interesting one, because I'd expect TJ to play a bit aggressively with that to capitalise on the mispositioning. But he's got action economy built in there. He's got some durability. Again, it's all what's under those hidden cards, I'd say. And yeah, he's got 6 attack dice. So we're seeing quite, on average, about 6-7 attack dice, aren't we, out of all 4 ships so far? Albeit,
I mean,
Jeff's
Core's going to be boosting that to a 7.
Yeah, it's a 7.
Plus,
and then that'll be an 8th hit. So that's 8 hits. Well, 8 dice anyway, isn't it? With the primary shot. So he's got some blind spots, but he's got a decent captain skill level.
I like that
Yeah.
eight hull as well, because obviously being
Mm.
cloaked, having that hull is just going to be so much more useful for him. So yeah, that he's got plenty of evasion there anyway. So chipping away at 8 hull is going to be tough.
Yeah, we're considering renaming that card to TJ's Reinforced Hull, because if I'm not mistaken, every single ship he's submitted since the release of Alliance 2 has had that reinforced hull on it. So he definitely likes that card. Makes good use of it.
And why wouldn't you? I tried to squeeze it onto my build, and I didn't have enough points.
Oh,
See, like the key bit missing here is it feels like the ship's missing something in terms of its upgrades, but that's where Genesis Effect and Quark come in. So, you know, what kind of flavor is TJ go with? Because you would have thought you'd need some kind of secondary weapon to help him out just a little bit. Genesis Effect, which no idea how this ship's going to behave. So he's still got a nice, I'd say, generic platform, and you've still got those 2 cards underneath that might really change things up. So that's what I'm most curious about. But yeah, it's an interesting build. There's hidden cards. I think that's where the key is for it. But there's so many options.
especially with Ezri. Yeah.
Okay, right. Moving on to matchup number 3. Here we go. We've got Kilo. Ooh, interesting. I hadn't spotted that one. And Dan W. So, I'll tell you what, Jeff, do you fancy doing Kilo?
Sure.
Let me just bring that one up. Okay, yep, it's on screen.
Okay, so we have, I think, the first sighting of this particular combo, which is the independent USS Dauntless. And because it is a Dauntless class and named the USS Dauntless, it's actually eligible to have the Federation prototype put on it. So Kilo taking advantage of that little loophole.
Nice.
And you will quickly see there's definitely a general theme to this particular ship. It's got Captain Valdor, which lets you discard one of your tech upgrades to gain an extra attack die when you're attacking. And there's a huge amount of tech upgrades on here. Flagship adds one, the Dauntless by itself has 4, and the Valdor adds 1. It's got the ambassador. I'm not sure what the trick is there, because this is not a Romulan ship. But okay, it's to be able to repair if you're near an obstacle. But anyway, also the Federation prototype has added a tech, and we've got the Romulan hijackers theme going on, so that it's nothing but Romulan people on the ship, which means all of the non-Borg techs get a discount, and all of those techs are cloaked mines. So we've got Romulan cloaked mines, and we've got 7 of them. So that's going to be an absolute joy to try to maneuver amongst. The Dauntless is got pretty good durability, so it's going to be hard to take down before it's had time to put down all those ships. All those mines. But yeah, 7 of them. We noticed Kilo was strangely enough asking questions on the rules channel several days ago about what happens when 2 mines overlap, when their range overlaps, how you handle that. And basically, it's treated as just 1 minefield there, not 2 for the overlap area. But it's going to be hard not to drop mines down that are overlapping, and it's going to be hard for the enemy fleet to avoid all those. Yeah, that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah,
could
absolutely.
be interesting.
And for those who don't know, you don't get to roll any defense dice against cloaked mines. It is straight up damage. And that's why they are as feared as they are, especially cloaked ships. Cloaked ships do not like cloaked mines.
Yeah, those defensive ships with Sulu or Riker or what have you that boost up huge amounts of defensive dice, they don't help you against cloaked mines. So it's definitely a target area. for some of
Yeah.
those really strong hits.
This is the sort of list that yourself and Dre, for example, as tanky, and even Derek, as tanky as those Romulan ships are, and all those cancel attack gimmicks and everything like that. There's nothing you can do about those cloaked mines.
Yeah,
They're just going
yeah,
to be
that's a great point.
they're
Great
just going to
point.
be
Yeah.
putting straight up damage onto you.
Yes, I would not particularly like to face this with a Romulan science vessel having attack cancels because they are useless against cloak mines. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll have a look at Dan W's list. Actually, I'm intrigued. So I must admit, when I came to start building mine, spoiler alert, I didn't go for a USS Prometheus, but I actually started by looking at a USS Prometheus, and it wasn't too dissimilar from what we've got here, actually. So we've got the new USS Prometheus, the one that basically allows you to put Federation prototype on, and a few upgrades get -2 SP. And they also cannot be affected by opposing upgrades, so it's a nice little ability there. You might notice the incredibly large amount of shields that he has put on there. Not subject to the rule of 3 in the sense that the flagship is replacing the value on the ship, so is not subject to the rule of 3. So what he's done here is he's got 1 for the flagship, 2 for reinforced shielding, and 1 for regenerative shields. Now, as I've found recently, regenerative shields is an absolute pain. It really is. It's passive. At the end of every turn, a Prometheus can regenerate 1 shield minimum, 2 shields if it doesn't have an auxiliary power, which most of the time it won't. So just chewing through all of those shields is really, really tough, speaking from experience. We have the Federation flagship, meaning that he's getting a permanent battle stations every turn. And of course Diet Picard, which is allowing him to put all of these fun upgrades and shields and everything on here. We've got a one-off metaphasic sweep. That's to basically combat the fact that there are a lot of Romulans out there. They will be cloaked, and if you want that target lock, metaphasic sweep's about the only thing that's going to get you that when you're Federation. We've got a Supreme Tribunal for dishing out an auxiliary power every 4 turns, I believe it is. We've got a Spock, who is allowing conversion of battle stations into hits, provided you have the scan token. So he can keep that battle stations for defense, and he can do a scan as his normal action, and he's still got that conversion going there. Something will be hidden under experimental torpedo bay. That's pretty good. And whatever that something is, it might benefit from Kalana, but we can only speculate at this point. But Deanna Troi, what's Deanna Troi doing? Discard this card and target a ship at range 1 to 2. Disable the captain or crew at 1 crew upgrade on the target ship and place a battle stations beside your ship. And if the target ship is cloaked, it flips its cloak token to the red side. So it is a one-time card, and it is an action to do, but just being able to potentially take a certain captain, like take core out of the equation or something like that, that's really, or even a crew that's really helping that enemy ship.
Can we just be honest for a second? She's going to crash the ship.
Yes.
Like in the movie?
Well, she crashes everything, doesn't she?
She's going to crash the ship. That's what's going to make this list come undone.
Oh, right.
Yeah, okay, so ultimately what you've done, Dan, there is you've put Deanna Troi on there, and no matter how many shields you've got, she's still just going to crash into all of Kilo's mines, probably.
Right.
But yes, the fact that you have got those shields and you have got that regen is definitely in your favour. You are probably the only list that we've revealed so far that has a good chance against those mines. Otherwise, yeah, the other 4 ships that we revealed before that were all cloaked ships, and they were all basically would have hated those mines. So Kilo probably not particularly enjoying his first round pairing there. And we'll wait to see if those mines can chew through all 9 of those shields with regen.
I just realized I should have brought Metaphasic Sweep because I'm realizing I'm going to try and target lock TJ's core, and I probably never will I? Oh, well.
I had that same sort of thing about potentially like
Oops.
bringing a metaphasic sweep because everyone's cloaking these days. It's just
Right.
if you're not cloaking, you're not cool.
I guess
Yeah.
not.
Okay, 3 more matches to go, and here we go. Let's bring out the next 2. We've got Ellis and Haz. I guess, Jeff, did you want to talk about Ellis's, and then I will talk trash about Haz's?
Then
So let's go bring Ellis's up on screen. Okay, Ellis's Romulan Borg Dideridex is up on screen.
okay, so Ellis has brought, I believe, the highest captain skill of anyone in the tournament, except for those nasty con +1s that we're seeing over there. So it's Ricard, boosted up 3 more by Navala. Ricard is a captain. I don't think we saw him at all, or hardly at all, in the Romulan War. And part of that is that the non-Romulan weapon thing is an important part of Ricard's ability. So Ellis has brought a Borg ship, the Borg T-Deridex, which is a native 5 attack dice ship, so the hardest hitting D-Deridex out there, and +1 from flagship. So this one's going to hit hard, and it's going to have durability. He's got, let's see, 1 attack cancel. Interphase is always annoying on D-Deridex, just because it's so hard to chop it down. Varrock, another card we didn't really see much of, who can protect the captain in crew upgrades. Navala is there to boost the captain's skill, so Ricard moving very late in the game, which combos great with Romulan Cloaking Device, giving you maneuverability. Threat analysis to place a battle station. That looks like the only source of battle stations on the ship, and with the Cloaking Device being a free echo, there will probably be time to do threat analysis a lot of the time. So additional weapons array, that's a D-Deridex only card, which boosts your attack dice up by 1, which is pretty nasty for the remaining couple of cards here. App Disruptor emitters, instead of 3, it's going to be 4. And the one that's really unpleasant to face is Magnetometric Guided Charge. This is a card we don't see too much. It often goes on scout cubes. More generally, it's a way to give Borg ships a range 3 attack. It doesn't get used that much because it's only 3 dice, but in this case, it's going to be 5 dice because additional weapons array boosts it up by 1, and also that's that pesky non-Romulan weapon upgrade that's going to roll +1 attack die. So Mag charges, it already gets the battle station conversion. You're going to get the 2 rerolls from Ricard, and you don't roll defense dice against it. So this can be a devastating weapon against cloaked ships that don't have their shields up and also don't really get the benefit of being cloaked because they're not rolling defense dice. It's a disable, so it's going to have to do something to get it re-enabled. But this is a ship that's going to hit pretty hard, and it's going to hit hard in weird ways. So I like it. I'm glad to see the assimilated D-Deridex out there, and I think this is a ship that's going to do well from our resident Romulan expert, Ellis.
Yes. So as you quite rightly said, the guided charge is going to be great against cloaked ships. So with that in mind, we'll move over to his opponent, Haz, who is running a non-cloaked ship.
So close.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, the first 4 cards that we drew out were all cloaked ships, but unfortunately for Ellis, he's got Haz's one and only, the only ship that exists in attack wing as far as Haz is concerned, the Kelvin Constitution class. It's got a great dial. It's got a great chassis. Good hull, good shields. He's boosting the hull and shields and attack dice, so just making that chassis better. The big plus point for Haz is that 180 arc that it has, and because he's got Maxwell Forest on there with that extra maneuverability, there's not a lot of places to hide really. But what I think is going well for Ellis though is the fact that Ellis does have that 360 weapon, which means that to be honest, there's nowhere for Haz to hide either. And that's normally what Haz would try and do with Forrest, is try and exploit the blind spot, pick his moment, but there really isn't going to be any moments to pick when coming up against Ellis's 360. We will discuss a little bit later on the Khan +1 ruling and how that works. We don't seem to have any clashes just yet, but on the off chance that down the line we do have two ships that we have Khan +1, we need to discuss basically how that works. In the meantime, so Haz is running Brunt, which is a one-time use card, but it is still just a bit like Supreme Tribunal. It's just dishing out that auxiliary power that potentially could shut down, maybe recloak, or just slow down Ellis, who would then have to do a green to make sure that he gets his action economy back up. Captured is literally there just so that Khan and Pulse Trap and Sakana are cheaper. It ultimately becomes probably 2 points profitable there. Advanced shields. So we had a debate about this, whether to go advanced shields or to go with I think was it reinforced shielding instead, I think was the debate. But this one, oh no, it was the reinforced shielding card.
The Romulan variety.
That's the one. So that's a kind of a passive regen, whereas this one is kind of a one-time regen, but it's just an instant 3 shields back. So Haz looking to try that out and see if that's much better. Natasha Yar, she's there for adding the extra slots, but also taking off time tokens. Full spread phasers, because why wouldn't you? Type 10 phasers, which is where Haz is getting his rerolls this time. Esri Dax, again taking off time tokens off of the likes of
Yeah.
Off of
Because you can re-roll dice.
Gotcha.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Arsenal, Sakana, Torpedo Bay. Again, they're all taking things off of the photon torpedoes and so on. And a nice little Verteron Pulse Trap, just to, again,
Be annoying.
Yeah, bit of board control.
Oh, okay.
You place it at the start. Again, it will make Ellis think twice about where he goes. You can fly over it, but you have to fly over it slow to keep removing that Orcs. But that's where Brunt comes in, I suppose, is to if someone goes near that Verteron Pulse Trap, if you put Brunt on there, then they don't want to necessarily get double stressed. So that's where Haz's sort of board control comes in. So yeah, again, as we know, Haz doesn't know any other ships exist in this game. If it's not broke,
Not sure you need any
Haz?
others.
Yeah. So there we go.
That was particularly unsalty of you, Nick. I expected worse to come out of your mouth.
Oh yeah, when the stream's over, mate. When the stream's over.
Oh, right, okay. Don't want to get taken off YouTube now.
Yeah,
exactly.
we might have children listening. Who knows?
Okay, so the penultimate match in round 1 is going to be David W versus Dylan. Okay, not too familiar with these ones. So, Haz, did you want to take David W's?
So first off, Sovereign. class, and the USS Sovereign at that. So the Admiral is getting a free action, so he's got Maxwell Forest on there. So there's a free extra maneuver, which is going to be very important. And he's got he hasn't opted for a ambassador, which isn't a big deal breaker. It's that free action with the Admiral, which is huge. And then he's got free action as a battle stations, thanks to the independent flagship card attached to it. He's got Gen Khan with Maxwell +1, much like what I had. So more often than not, he's going to be the highest captain skill on the board unless he comes up against another Gen Khan +1. Federation Prototype gives you for 1 point at that to give you the extra slot and the reroll and the defense. Esri Dax. Oh, here you go. This is where it gets a bit more flavoursome. So this particular ship can perform 2 maneuvers on top of the normal dial maneuver, thanks to Sarita Carson. So that means Esri Dax will be bringing Sarita in every turn. Granted, it's a red 1 or 2 forwards, but that can be pretty crucial for getting to the right spots at the right times. You've got Type 10 phasers. Awesome. Well, that's good. Multi-phasic shielding. Protecting all of his crew, because we haven't seen some in the past and that's the card before. And also +1 to the shield value. Worth noting that this ship is rocking 7 shields, 5 hull, 6 attack dice, and 2 evade dice. So with with Type 10s, that's 7 with the primary. Laska, you don't see her often. 2 time tokens on this card and target a friendly ship or the ship. Flip 1 face up, damage card down. If it's a Federation prototype up to it, it can repair a hull instead. So there's an element of regen built in.
And that's
passive.
Yep, that's passive with Esri.
Fixed Esri, yeah. Blana Taurus for some passive rerolls for 1 point, absolute steal. And then Savick, because there's going to be some planets to play clearly. Again, a 1 point card, nice little bit of evade that rolls nicely into the 2 defense die. Because you're going to take damage, but at least you can guarantee, well, more or less guarantee you're going to be evading at least one of them. So, no rear arc weapons, but do you really need it when you've got 2 maneuvers in one? No, 2 additional maneuvers.
Yeah, and moving so late. Yeah.
Yeah, with old Gen Khan. And what is it? 6, 7 with Type 10 phasers. So you check out 7 attack dice with 3 rerolls built into that, provided they haven't got shields up. And if they have got shields up, then you're gonna get the 3 battle stations. So you've got consistent offensive quality. It's a page right out of my book. What can I say? Difference is the platform. This is a really nice build. This is what I would like to run as well.
I think it's fun how the Type 10 can really finish off a damaged ship. I hadn't noticed that until the last few games I watched with Type 10, but that fact that it gives you the automatic conversion once you shoot through the shields just lets you finish off a ship really fast.
Really good against
Really
cloak ships as well.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Okay. Jeff, did you fancy taking Dylan's?
Sure, I'd love to.
Okay, on screen.
Okay, so Dylan has gone with a Ricard Prometheus here. It is in fact almost a completely Federation ship, except for Ricard. So gaining the benefit of Ricard not being a faction penalty, and also sticking to the theme of Ricard sort of hijacking a Fed ship. The Prometheus is a really popular choice this event, and to be honest, so is Ricard. We have a lot of them. That Federation prototype is so nice to give you the extra flexibility, because we do have a lot of points to work with on this building to 60. Reinforced shielding, and that makes it harder to chew through in the first place. And if you look further down, we've got the ablative hull armor and the regenerative shields. So it's just going to be really, really hard to tear this ship down. I'm not even quite sure how you would do it. I guess you have to do it with one big hit, or maybe having all your boosters going after it at the same time. but this ship is going to last a really long time. We've got experimental torpedo bay hiding something nasty, and I think this is the first Prometheus we've seen here that has multi-vector assault mode. So that one's going to be fun, particularly as a combo with Ricard, because Ricard gets +1 attack die on the non-Romulan weapon, which this definitely is. This is a thing that can hit you 3 times, or it can hit 3 different ships. It basically lets you shoot in any direction with that, as long as you can get that first range 1 attack, either in your forward arc or your rear arc, which the Prometheus does have. So a lot of offensive action options on this ship. We've got whatever's in experimental torpedo bay, and of course we've got the fed torpedoes here, the time token version of it. So that's going to be really unpleasant to face. We've got Benjamin Sisko here, who can give you that battle station you need, and also keeping. I think probably it's there to potentially let you do multi-vector assault mode every round, because he can. You've already taken your actions, and he can remove that disable token from multi-vector assault mode so that it can attack. And then in the end phase, probably Harry Kim will be quickly removing that Ox, because Dylan went with the flagship here that gets a free scan action every round. So it's a nice clean combo, hitting everyone with multi-vector assault mode that rolls 5 dice every round. That one's going to be, that's probably a good ship to stay away from. I'm not quite sure how to defeat this ship. You could surround it with cloaked mines, and that would help, but even that doesn't work, because regenerative shields, you can basically just fly through cloaked mines and repair 2 shields at the end. So I don't know. It was a pretty unpleasant ship to face. So it's a good build.
David's got the maneuverability, and he's going to need it against this. He really is. He's
Right.
going to have to. The way that David W beats this is by trying to outmaneuver it, because it's going to be tough. If he gets caught by that multi-vector assault mode, it's going to hurt.
That's true. There's blind spots on the sides, so that's where you gotta, if you're going after this ship. Yeah.
Okay. Over to our final pairing then. So we will have at least one person is known at this point. So it'll be Tristan against myself. So I suppose, did you guys want to take, one of you want to take Tristan's and the other take mine?
Sure. Why don't I talk about Tristan's, so Haz can say nothing but nice things about your build there, Nick?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yep, Tristan's is on screen.
Okay, so Tristan has gone with kind of a similar approach, a ship that is just okay. So it's Ricard on the Prometheus. So again, we're keeping with the theme. Ricard adds an attack dice. It's the flagship that adds a primary weapon value. So Tristan is going with at the bottom. You'll see fed torpedoes. So that's going to be 8 dice. And 8 dice with perfect quality if you have a battle stations, which either you're gonna get as your action, or Sisko can toss in the battle stations for you at the end there. I guess this is pretty similar to the last one, isn't it? It's got a lot of the same stuff. Regenerative shields, a blade of hull armor. We didn't see what Dylan had in terms of the torpedoes, but one thing that this ship has that Dylan doesn't have is Admiral Strickler. So, we've seen a few ships that have Maxwell Forrest giving that free maneuver to your flagship, and the reason Maxwell Forrest is able to do that because it's an admiral on the Sovereign, so it's free. But another way to give your big ship another action is with the Strickler admiral, because you can take the fleet action on a different ship and target your flagship, probably. So another great way to get into range. We haven't seen much of Strickler, and there's kind of a debate going: is Strickler better? Is Forest better? This will actually be pretty interesting. This gives you the opportunity to really change your mind, sort of mid phase, because you can give your ship the Strickler move before it's moved, and so Strickler can kind of change where it's going so that the maneuver you set takes you in a totally different direction. If you need to make a decision like that. And so Tristan also, just like Dylan, has the free scan with Harry Kim at the end. So it's kind of funny. I didn't notice the similarities when I was originally building this out, but those are both going to be pretty hard to take down. So yeah, let's see how Nick matches up against this particular Prometheus.
Okay, so bringing up my list then. Okay, Haz, go for it.
Let's bring up next list. So we've got a carbon copy of my list here. Nick's demonstrating no originality or creativity. So he's got Gen Con with Maxwell Forest. So if we do get some Khan versus Khan action, it's going to be a very interesting game. First use of Vorik. This is a good addition because yeah. Did you just boo Vorik?
I did. Vociferously.
I'm just having a look. Is there any Ezri or Julian Bashir that isn't? So that's one reprieve for everyone. But
I was wondering if Julian was under Genesis there. That would be annoying.
Okay.
Anything that makes Vorik more powerful is
yeah. So that's
cool.
possible. It's possible. That would make sense. So that would get rid of a lot of like the battle stations knocking about, which people will be dependent on because there isn't a lot of passive rerolls I've seen in all of these lists. There's a lot of people with extra free actions. So getting rid of someone's target lock or getting rid of their battle stations when they shoot, that is a big deal. You got captured on there to take the faction penalty off of all the independent cards, which we'll see play down in a while. Let's start with Sakana. We all love Sakana and the shenanigans you get with Sakana. So you've got a Torpedo Bay for free and then Ferengi Photons for free. You've got another Torpedo Bay for free and then Federation Photons for free. So all the weapons are free. Secretaries are free on this ship. Mm-hmm. You've got yourself reinforced shielding on top of the systems upgrades. That's 3 extra shields. So this ship, yes, let's just address the elephant in the room. 6 attack dice, 1 agility, 6 hull, and 9 shields. So it's a very tanky ship as well. Take some punishment. And you got Quark with something hidden underneath. I actually forgot what's actually hidden underneath that card. So I can't remember what's under there. Maybe it's some regen. I don't know, but if it is some regen, that would really play into it really nicely because you've got 15 hit points with that. High captain skill, lots of maneuvering. You've got shots from the front and the back, shitloads of free actions. Battle stations, the maneuver. You got Vorik that's really going to annoy people. I think the better way of putting it.
It's already started.
It's already started, yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's again singing from my hymn sheet. It's a really nice build. It's more aggressive in that respect, but I think what's under Quark is going to make a huge difference, personally. And yeah, high captain skill. So he's just going to be pumping out. What was it? Your attack dice is 6 naturally thanks to the flagship, and then the Federation Photons, which will give you that perfect quality. And then if you want to just annoy someone with Ferengi Photons, brilliant. And also Ferengi Photons give you the back shot. It's a nice, well-rounded ship. It mitigates the low agility by having all the durability. Sweet.
So he really just looked at your idea and copied it? That's not very creative.
Be honest, Haz. Come on, be honest. I built mine first, showed it to him, and then he built his.
Okay. Let's be honest, Nick. Let's be honest. So Nick built his, showed it to me. I made some notable improvements, and then I copied it. And then to make mine look different, I put Brunt in there and Advanced Shield, and no one would notice the difference.
Just don't mention it. Good
Yeah, just
call
don't
there.
mention it on the stream. It's fine. We're off air anyway, so it's fine.
Oh, okay, right.
So yeah, there you go. Yeah, nice little big ship. That's going to give the Tristan a bit of a run around while he tries to narrow it down more, I believe. Just have a quick look at
Right.
Tristan's list. Yeah, Strickler's going to help keep up, but that captain skill is going to be the huge difference maker, I think. But then multi-vector assault road. Ugh. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting matchup. If he catches Nick, it's going to be painful.
Oh yeah.
It's catching Nick is the problem.
Mentioning the captain skill is a very good segue into the Gen Con +1 topic that we just need to briefly discuss. And for that, I will hand over to our resident Gen Con +1 expert in Jeff.
Okay. Yeah, that's a weird one. It's something that is good to know because Con plus Forest is a very popular combo, especially now with the USS Sovereign. So, by the way, I noticed our final 3 matches there are all Con against Ricard, so that's kind of funny. But presumably, one of these 3 Con +1 ships is going to face another one. And it's really strange the way it works. If you have Con +1 against Con +1, actually initiative comes into play. So whoever has initiative, so this is basically start of phase things come into play. So start of activation phase. Whoever has initiative, their con triggers first. So their con is going to be whoever the highest captain skill is in the game, not counting the other con. +1, and then whichever con doesn't have initiative, then they use their ability. So they'll copy that con and then go +1 on top of that. So normally in the case of things that look sort of tied like this, you want to be the one with initiative because it lets you move last and attack first. But in the case of con, it's sort of paradoxically, you want the other thing. You don't want to have initiative when it's Con +1 against Con +1 because you want your con triggering last. The other thing that's kind of funny is in a Con plus versus a Con plus, it doesn't really matter whether you're +1 or +2 or +3. All you really need is to be the plus because the cons go in order of initiative. So we won't have to worry about that this turn, but it's a constant headache when you have Con against Con plus or Con plus against Con plus, just trying to keep track of the captain skills and order of movement and simultaneous attack rule, it gets confusing. So there's a quick primer on Con plus versus Con plus, but maybe we won't have to worry about it.
Yes, certainly a good refresher for myself, Haz, and David W. when it comes down to it, and of course any of our opponents shouldn't have to worry too much about it because ultimately we're copying their captain skill and adding one to it anyway. So
going last, attacking first, yeah.
So there we have it. We have 6 matches for round 1, and I believe we can begin scheduling those immediately. What we're going to just briefly do now is explain to those people who may not know just how to get this lovely little box of boosters up in the top left corner here, how to import that into your game. I'll just give a really, really quick crash course on that. And inside we've got some goodies that will basically help you build your booster fleet for your game. So it is just very straightforward. I will quickly demonstrate. So I'm sure most of you by now know that I think Jeff put the booster file, this particular box file, is in the Dreadnought thread on the Discord group. I think it might be worth pinning that as well at some point. But yeah, if you click on the download, once you've found that file, it will be a .json file. And for the majority of you, your files will be in your Documents folder. And you go down to My Games, select your Tabletop Simulator, under Saves, and then Saved Objects. And that's where your JSON files are. These are all of the items that you've saved. There'll be a JSON file and a PNG file, which is basically just the picture of it. You don't need that necessarily. So if you just copy the booster pack JSON file into this folder here, then the next time you load up your game and you go to your saved objects, it will be in there for you to spawn in the game. Okay, I think that's a simple enough explanation. So, what do we get in this wonderful pack, you ask? Let's open it up and have a look. We've got 2 bags of boosters and 2 very nicely customized dice by our resident Jeff here.
I need to give Dre a lot of credit for this too. He was a big help in assembling these, especially the stuff that's in the bags. I did do the art for the dice.
Oh, okay. Full a lot of credit to Dre there as well.
Thank you.
So, what you want to do is each of you, in whatever order you deem necessary, will want to roll the 35 SP die and the 30 SP die. And you can even roll them simultaneously. Why not? And as an example, we have landed on someone is getting, funnily enough, 2 Borg-related boosters. The Assimilated Vessel 64758 and the Scout 608. So what you would do is you would obviously just right-click and go into search, and you would find the... So this is the 30 SP. So I'm looking for the Scout 608, which is there. Bring out that bag. And then...
You can just start dragging out of it. Pull all the things from the time out of it.
In this bag will be all of the cards, dials, and ships that you need for your particular booster. And it's as simple as that. Absolutely as simple as that, except for one slight little thing, in that some of you will potentially have cards that are currently yes, so this little thing down here, again, it's already been uploaded onto the Dreadnought page, and I believe is there a sheet that tells us what cards or what boosters each person can and can't have?
Yeah, that's what the big white thing is down there.
Okay, yeah.
So it's also posted on the channel. I'm not sure it's pinned, but I'll pin it there.
Absolutely. So yes, what we'll do is if you have a look at this, there may be certain cards that you have in your list that basically stop you from using a certain booster legally. Yeah, sorry.
I see what you're saying. Not this one, but the thing that says, Dan W can't have these booster ships. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that would be an easier thing to consult. That's right. I was gonna post it when I announce the matches, but having it in a master place would be good too.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, both of you just check your fleets are legal. If not, roll again. Maybe you'll be lucky. You'll get something like a bioship, and maybe you'll be unlucky and you'll get an NX. Who knows?
Honestly, the most common clash is going to be if you roll the 30-point Gavroche. I didn't think about that, but Sakona's in there as part of the... I don't remember why. I think there was some reason it helped on the Gavroche, but there's lots of flagships, obviously, with Sakona. So if you get the Gavroche and you're a Sakona person, you'll probably need to re-roll the gray die, the 31.
So very few people running the Gavroche in this particular tournament then.
Right.
So yes, as a little treat, I think what we'll do is, how about we each just roll for a booster and just talk about one booster each, just as a final sort of farewell.
Sounds good.
Haz, why don't you go first? See what booster
Oh,
you get. Pick either die.
If you could do me the honors, as my mouse has run out of power.
Of course. Which one would you like? 35 or 30?
Let's go 35. Let's start big.
35. Here we go.
I'll send you a link to the ship.
We've got the IKS Karaga.
Raga. Right then, I have a list, unfortunately.
Okay.
Thank you anyway, Jeff.
I'll send you the
IKS.
list right now. There it is.
Oh yes, we spoke about this one earlier, didn't we? This is probably one of the most well-rounded boosters. So the Karaga, each time you defend while cloaked, you roll 1+1 defense die. So all of a sudden you've got 6 defense die, and it's a Cavort class, which is pretty decent. You've got Worf. When attacking, you may reroll your blank results 1 time. Decent. And then you've got Nagarin, or twin brother of Drex, if you want to look at it that way in terms of functionality. Action,
Sister.
you may convert sister. You may convert a battle stations to a crit and the rest to hit and attack it. So that plays nicely off of Worf. And then lastly, EM Pulse. Disable this card, target ship at range 1 to 2. The target ship rolls 1 less attack die and 1 less defense die. Nice little bit of casual. I'm going to annoy you slightly. But I think it's nicely well rounded for 35 points. All about the offense, isn't it? That's on a decent platform. So yeah, nice.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the stronger ones. Few of these boosters will have the same. I mean, the fact that you've got passive rerolls and the automatic conversions in the same ship for a booster, yeah, that's a big plus. So yeah, that's a very strong booster as far as I'm concerned.
Who's going to get Interceptor 5?
Yeah, I really hope someone rolls that. Jeff, did you want to pick a die?
Sure. So I'll roll the 30-point die, and while it's spinning around, I should mention these ships were all built by our community. We had several people contributing builds, and they are all pack pure, by which we mean all the cards in the ship came with that retail ship. So this was an opportunity to get some of these older cards back in play that we don't see very much. So that's going to be fun. Unfamiliar cards doing their thing.
That's a very
and
good
I
point,
got
yeah.
I got the Prototype 01. So I guess I will talk about that one.
Yep.
There it is.
On screen.
Okay. So this is the Romulan drone ship, and it has one of the Romulan drone captains, Gareb, who is a very odd card where basically you put another captain under him and get the benefit of their captain skill, and you pay their cost, but you don't get their ability. So using Valdor, who came with the ship, to get a pretty good captain skill for a booster. The built-in ship ability is a passive repair every end phase. So as long as you don't get one shot, you're going to be in pretty good shape. The backup sequencer can bring your shields back all of a sudden if you need it, typically while you're cloaked. And the multispectral emitters to give you extra defense if you need it. And propulsion matrix, it's not a very fast-moving ship. It's a very nicely maneuverable ship with white 2 and 3 turns, and also white 2 and 3 comeabouts, and green banks 1 and 2s. But it doesn't go very fast, so you can use propulsion matrix to give you that 1 time 4 or 5 straight. So this ought to be a pretty good ship. These are durable. You can one-shoot them, but they're hard to take down with little shots. So this is a pretty good 30-point ship, I think.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. It doesn't pack much of a punch, but yeah, difficult to take down. And yeah, I don't think it can cloak. Actually, am I right in thinking?
Oh yeah, you're right.
But still, yeah.
With cloaking device, it could. Yeah.
But
right.
yeah, okay. So just quickly moving back into The main... Right. Oh, God. Which one am I going to pick? I will go for a 35, I think. And I have got the Aldora. So let's bring that up. Okay, we have a Cardassian Galore class. Not a bad chassis. I mean, you've got the 180 arc, which is pretty good. A standard of 4 attack dice, 4 health, 4 shields. Not too bad. The one problem with the Galore is those hard turns, but with a 180, it's not too bad. The ability, when a ship that started the activation phase in your forward firing arc moves, if you've not yet moved, you may immediately change your maneuver. You may only use this ability once per round. Well, that is pretty good, actually. Especially being is that so? It's if they move before you, is that right? Yeah. So it's a captain skill 5. There'll be a lot of boosters with very low captain skills there. So this will be one that can potentially try and outmaneuver some of those lower captain skill boosters. So that's not a bad passive ability to have there. Gul Jasad, which is an action. When attacking this game round, roll attack dice. You can add 1 attack for each friendly ship in range 1 to 2 to a maximum of 2. And you do take an Orcs for that, but that's still, boosting that to a 6 dice attack with 180 and extra maneuverability. I mean, I don't even have to look at the other cards to know that that's already pretty powerful. Concentrated Firepower, again, that's another action, so you'll be picking and choosing here, unless your flagship grants extra actions. Discard and target 1 enemy at range 3, specifically. Every friendly ship, including this ship, that attacks that target ship with this round gains +1 attack die. It's quite expensive, but not a bad... not a bad one if you're really wanting to target one specific ship, maybe a flagship, for example, and you want everyone to really go all in on it. We've got an aft weapons array, which is basically granting this a 360 attack. So perfect. It's a disable to do. So again, it'll be an action to re-enable it, but at least for a while you've got a 360 4 to 6 dice attack at range 1 to 3. Very strong this is so far. And Glyn Lassaran. When defending during a roll defense dice step, you may discard this card to roll +2 defense dice. So, you're even making it just a little bit tougher and harder to kill. I would argue that this thing is tougher than that Vorcha that we were talking about earlier. Especially with that 360 firing arc. So
It's
yeah,
definitely, it's half the price as well.
Yeah, I like it, and I like its extra maneuverability options.
Do you mean the Cavort booster?
Cavort, yes. Sorry.
Yeah. This seems more well-rounded, doesn't it? Than that does. 360 shots.
Yeah.
Extra defense, and it can even support your own ships. Yeah, it's a decent boost to that.
Yeah.
180 arc.
I'd be smiling if I got this one, definitely. Okay. Well, that just about does it for the stream, and
I have a couple of last things I want to say.
Yeah.
Just one thing to remind people: most of the flagships that got brought are independent flagships, but there are, I think, 3 that are the Fed flagships. And just to remind people of the rule we made for this, that if you brought a Fed flagship, your flagship ship ability talks about friendly Federation ships, and we're playing that it applies to all friendly ships just because you don't have any control over the factions of the booster ships that you roll. So those 3 ships that are Fed, that your flagship ability, that it applies to all your friendly ships, similarly to the independent flagship abilities.
Good point.
And the other is just, it's going to be interesting to see how people manage the scores of this. All the flagships are 60 points, but the 2 boosters taken together add up to 65 points. So I'll be interested to see whether the right strategy is to take down the big ship or just to try to get a win with 65 points, even if it costs you your flagship. So there's some interesting tactical choices here. I'm not quite sure what the best approach is, but we will probably learn as the games go on.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's a very interesting point. And speaking of the points as well, I think it's just a quick mention is the way that we're running the tournament this time. We've got 3 rounds of Swiss. The first round obviously is randomly paired, but the next 2 will be based on how well you do in your first 2 games, basically. And then we will do a 4 top cut, and the top cut will be those people who have won at least 3 games, and if we have more than if we don't have more than 1 or 2 that have won 3 games, then we'll come down to those who've won 2 games and the points difference for and against. So you need to think about not only how many points you've destroyed, but also how many points you've lost along the way as well.
Oh no. Da, da, da.
So yes, looking forward to this. Has clearly getting a little bit fidgety there, so that's usually good time to wrap up the stream. And thanks for watching, and I'll let Haz and Jeff sign off as well.
Just thanks everyone for watching, and also good luck to anyone who's competing in a week in the UK Nationals. I think both of you are, so could be some tough challenges to face there, but good luck. Represent Fremont well.
Yes, I think it's going to be a good representation of Fremont at this year's, as there was last year, I believe. But
I think there's even more this year, isn't it? There's definitely more players. It's much higher numbers this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to see. The game is still alive.
Yeah, just about. I mean, there was a tournament in Kent a few weeks maybe about a month ago, and I was a bit gutted that I wasn't able to go to it. But yeah, I believe that the turnout there was a little bit lacking. But again, I think that was just generally down to circumstance and possible location. The Unnationals is nice and centrally located in the UK, so a lot of people can afford to do just a little bit of extra travel to get to that. So yes, all right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone, and good luck in round 1, and we will see you on the next stream. Goodbye.
Peace.
Thanks. Cheers.